One of the greatest lessons that we can take as a way to recall on all that we've been able to gain, learn, and grow from is reflecting on where it's actually going to take us. When you think about your greatness, when you think about the dream that you're chasing, when you think about all that you've been able to think that you could achieve, believe, and receive, it's imperative that we recognize and that we acknowledge that our greatness is up next. Welcome inside of the DDTV room for our grand finale of National Black Business Month in tribute to Mr. Tony Gaskins. So if you're ready for our live stream, let's go.
The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melone.
Hello, everyone. I am Sophia Melonē, the Debt Demolisher, here to bring you the tools, tips, and tricks to help you manage your financial baggage the right way. What an honor and privilege it is to be before you all for yet another live stream night. And this is our final live stream night for the month of August as we celebrate and honor Mr. Tony Gaskins during National Black Business Month. This has sincerely and truthfully have been or has been an amazing 31-day ride in terms of what we've been able to not only read through, but learn from and grow from as a result of reading The Dream Chaser by Mr. Tony Gaskins. If you don't build your dream, then someone else will hire you to build yours. One of the things that we want to ensure that we do when we're in the space of just learning something new that we could apply to our lives is not only recognizing what we've learned, but giving acknowledgement and appreciation of what we're able to learn and who we're able to learn it from. So our reading assignment for today was for us to close out the book by reading through the acknowledgments as well as the about the author page, as well as where we could connect with Tony. For those of you who have not had an opportunity to do so yet, you are in for a treat. Just want to highly recommend and suggest that you go down to the links in the description box, subscribe to Tony Gaskins' channel, get your copy of the book if you have not done so already. If you need the audio copy, if you need the hard copy, if you need the soft copy, if you need the Kindle version, whatever books are sold, we highly encourage you to grab your copy of this book. So I know you may be thinking, well, we're wrapping up the conversation. We finished out the books with like the closing stuff. There isn't really much chapters. So what are we going to be talking about today? Of course, we're going to be talking about the greatness. Like literally, this book was so packed with gems and highlights and strategy, and just so much was inside of this truth, transparency, that I really hope that we can take this last day to just not only see who Tony Gaskins is acknowledging inside of, based on what he was been able to accomplish inside of this book and who he was able to connect to, but also learning a little bit more about how he writes about himself. And then, of course, putting it out there where other folks can be able to learn more about him and hear from him. But hopefully we'll be able to hear from him today. So we have Q Scott in the room, and Q Scott says, happy Wealth and Wellness Wednesday. Today is our final digesting of the many gems that Tony Gaskins provided to us in his book, The Dream Chaser. This book is an absolute must read, and I am going to second that with you, Q Scott. And not only am I going to second that with you, it's literally like the book that I believe every, especially entrepreneur, even people who are already in entrepreneurship, to get, because sometimes people may need that reset. People might have started their foundation without even considering any of the things that Tony has mentioned and shared inside of this book. all of the strategies, the plays, the organic reach, just making sure that you're doing what you're doing from the space of your gift and not from the space of desperation or out of wanting to be like somebody else. So this book is full of transparency and full of authenticity, which is something that I believe that should be the baseline for everyone who is starting to build their dream from the ground up. But hey, Q Scott, hey, Q Scott, let's go. Come on, hey, Q Scott, hey, Q Scott, let's go. Come on. Shout out to Q Scott in the room. And I also want to shout out to Q Scott for giving us our theme for the day. Today is Wealth and Wellness Wednesday. And how fitting is this for it to be Wealth and Wellness Wednesday? Because not only are we talking about our gifts and our dreams and the expansion that we would like to have and experience in our life, one of the things that we learned about that was extremely important in this journey to the dream is the balance. And a part of balance also includes your wellness. So today is a perfect day around Wealth and Wellness Wednesday. So shout out to Q Scott for giving us our theme of the day. Come on, Q Scott, let's go. We have Acacia in the room, says, greetings, DDTV family. Greetings, Acacia. So good to see you. Welcome on into this room. I am so glad that you are here. So glad that you are here. Hey, Acacia. Go, Acacia. Hey, Acacia. Come on, let's go, Acacia. Let's go. So glad that you're here, Acacia. Welcome. We got Sherry in the room, says, happy hump day, Sherry. So good to see you. Welcome on into this room. I'm so glad that you are here. Hey, so let's go, Sherry. 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 It's an income, Sherry. Let's go, Sherry. Hey, shout out to Sherry in the room. So glad that you're here. Welcome on in to this room. Q Scott says, in case you're new to the channel, learn more about our National Black Business Month honoree, Mr. Tony Gaskins Jr., devoted husband, father, successful entrepreneur, life and relationship coach. Amen. You can read about his bio right there because Q Scott dropped it all in the chat. But make sure that y'all stay tuned. Tiani is back. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Hello, Tiani. So good to see you. Welcome on into this room. I am so glad that you are here. She says, hi, everyone. I agree. Tony Gaskins' channel is very impactful. Yes, it is. Gotten us all the way together. I firmly and truly believe. Amen. Q Scott is saying hi to everybody that's listening in behind the scenes as well. So let's get into the crux of our conversation tonight, because I think it's important that we go back and we see who Tony finds extremely important, not only in his life, but into what has led to the success he's been able to have and sustain. We all know that he adores his queen, Mrs. Cherie Gaskins. We all know that. And she was the first person who he recognized and who he acknowledged in the acknowledgement sections on page 255. And what this showed me was how important it was for him to acknowledge the one who had the greatest and the best impact and influence on him to literally help turn his whole life around. So if we really think about it from, the perspective where they say behind every strong man or is a great woman, or behind every great man is an even greater woman, whatever the saying is, that's kind of like the thing that I envisioned as I was reading this. Like he was literally giving acknowledgments to his queen, to the one who has literally helped him become who he is today, and being able to be the mentor and the guide and the teacher that he is to all of us who listens to his teachings. I think it's powerful how he recognized, of course, his family, his sons, how much his sons inspire him and want him to be greater. Like though his sons pushes him to be greater and better and be a better representation of what a man should be, so that they can model and emulate the right things growing up. He recognized his parents, his mom and his dad. He even talked about his sister as well as his nieces and nephews. He also talked about those who he had great friendships with and connections, and how kind of things really allowed this book to come together, which I believe is truly powerful. One of the things that I want to say before we go into our kind of closing address, I just want to encourage everyone to remember not only just your purpose, but remember how you are going to be seen and received as you go through your life. Sometimes I think we get, and I can speak for myself too, sometimes I think we get so focused on a thing, or we may be so results oriented, or we may be so work driven that we may, and I'm not saying everybody, but we may not fully hone in on the power of relationships and connections and being available to those, because people are going to remember how you made them feel, which is what Maya Angelou said in a very well-known quote of hers. People will always remember how you made them feel. And I know sometimes we can be engrossed in work, or we could be engrossed in responsibility, that it could turn into a situation where people may feel neglected. Tony shared several stories throughout this book and how he worked really hard and he was grinding. He was working on his job, on his 9 to 5, and then he was working all day, working all night, and grinding, having to be away from his children and his family and his wife. And he told the stories about how he literally apologized to his sons, like, I'm sorry for not being there. I'm sorry that daddy had to work, but the kids understood. They also understood the assignment. That's the popular saying that a lot of folks say now, understood the assignment. So they understood the assignment. And when you look at how humble and I want to say how touched Tony was to recognize, like, hey, I need to make sure that my family knows that they're more important than this job, or than this task, or than this assignment, or than this need to make money or make resources. I just think it's an important attribute or an important element that we should ensure that we internalize and keep as a part of our own characteristics or our character building traits, if that's what we're working towards. Because I know me as a workaholic, it can be very hard to find that balance. But when you look at who you really want to acknowledge in your life, and how do you want the people who you love and know, what do you want them to say about you when you're not around? What do you want them to say about you when you're long gone? How do you want them to remember you as? So do you want them to remember you as that loving, caring, present person, or do you want them to recognize you as, yeah, that loving, caring, but overworking workaholic kind of person, so you weren't really there? So I think it's important to think about this as we're building, and think about who do we want to acknowledge at the end of the road. And when we identify who we want to acknowledge at the end of the road, recognizing that they have some say, per se, in how they feel about you is going to be received or reciprocated. So I wanted to share that before we go into our next portion of the presentation. But I want you to be able to hear from the author's mouth, what it looks like to use your gift, what it looks like to be authentic in your gift, and what it means to be intentional about the dream that you're building, but using the very God-given gifts that has been placed inside of you to do so. And then, like, honoring that. So I'm getting ready to come off screen for a second. And then, oh, wait, one more thing before that. I forgot. I wanted to share the quote of the day. Quote of the day came from page 256, because at the very end, he listed out all of his acknowledgments. And one of the things that he ended off by saying is that, I can't list everyone, but if you've ever supported me or spoken to my life, please know that I appreciate you. Every good-hearted person I've met on the journey means something. Means something. So as an exercise that I want to challenge you guys to do is to think about your acknowledgments note. When you get to your point of your point, when you get to the level of achievement, when you get to the ending of the writing of your book or the completion of your project or the manifestation of your product line or whatever it is that you have an idea of, your consulting practice, whatever it is, whatever your vision and your dream is that we've been building and that you've been working on throughout this 31-day journey. Think about who are you? What is your acknowledgement letter going to say? How is it going to begin? And how is it going to end? Who do you want to ensure that you give credit to, that you recognize, that you acknowledge for getting you to that point? Getting you to that point. All right. So if y'all ready, let's go.
When you go out there, you putting everything on the line. And so that's one thing that I've learned is that even the people who the world sees as the scum of the earth can be millionaires. Even the people, I heard a speaker one time, Zig Ziglar, say that it was a study that said an immigrant is 4 times more likely to become a millionaire in America than a natural born citizen. Because and he summed it up as the reason why is because they leave their country and they come over to America with a dream and a plan and a vision, and that they're willing to be the janitor and work their way up and climb their way up the ladder. That they willing, like the story of the man from Cheetos. I think he was the janitor, and he went and put some Cheeto dust together that he hadn't got, and put some of his cayenne or chili pepper in it, put it together, let somebody taste it. They gave the man his own Cheeto flavor, changed his life, went from janitor to now he executive, and I don't believe he is American, to my knowledge. But when you look at this, you have to understand that you have a gift. You have to understand that you have a gift. And you have to have the audacity to use your gift. And you have to use your gift the way that it makes sense to you. See, my entire system that I have, it makes sense to me. Like TonyGastinsAcademy.com, that is what earns the bulk of my living. But if you notice with TonyGastinsAcademy.com, you have not seen ads. You have not seen YouTube ads. You have not seen Instagram and Facebook ads for TonyGastinsAcademy.com. If you notice, I don't even mention TonyGastinsAcademy.com in every video, if you notice. But yet, that is my passion. That's my desire. That's what I said. I want to be a teacher. What I meant by that is, when I got started, nobody was really teaching. Like the people who were doing what I wanted to do, they hadn't wrote a book on it, nor did they have a course on it. So it was like they had success, but it was like the success is just for them. And then the people who were teaching some stuff, they didn't look like me. So I said, I want somebody who came from a similar situation that I've come from. I want to see somebody who has the same, trials and tribulations, the same odds stacked against them that I have as a black man in America, because that experience is totally different than a white man in America. A lot of people can try to deny that, but you're a fool if you think a white man's experience in America is the same as a black man's experience, and you got the same opportunity, you got the same everything. No, you're absolutely a fool. And so I want to see somebody who had made it, but I couldn't see anybody. I couldn't see anybody. I was introduced to Les Brown, and he had climbed and he had made it, but again, he had a gift, an orator. That wasn't my thing. I'm very quiet and shy. Ironically, I'm on YouTube, but I'm very quiet and shy. I don't say anything. Like the people who, like, I'm getting ready to go to these soccer games. I know the parents, when they find me online, they're like, what? I've never heard this guy say a single word. And that's the honest to God truth. And people don't believe that, because the reason why you see me turn up on a camera is because this is my purpose. When I'm operating my purpose to help somebody else change their life, that's when I'm going to give everything. But in my normal day-to-day, I'm not seeking attention. I'm not trying to be the loudest. I'm not walking around, hey, let me give a motivational speech. Let me give y'all a motivational speech. I'm not doing that. I'm minding my business. My mouth is closed. My head is down. I'm not trying to make no waves or get no attention. And that's the honest to God truth. Anybody who know me personally, who may be watching this video, they can attest to that. I don't walk around just trying to give out motivational speeches and trying to give life coaching advice. I don't do that. I work in my gifting. I work in my purpose. And so listen, even being an introvert, even being quiet, you still able to earn a living from your gifts. You still able to earn a living from your gifts. And so what you have to do is you got to take your gift and you got to see, and your gift may be tied to your passion, or your gift may be something that you're not passionate about. And you may have a job right now. It's okay to stay on your job. It's okay to stay on your job. But what you need to do is, you on your job, you need to create on the side. So you create on the side. I got a book. It's on Audible called The Dream Chaser. Just search The Dream Chaser, Tony Gaskins. It's also, Barnes and Noble, Amazon. You probably could find it. And it's called The Dream Chaser. If you like to read the book. If you like to listen to the book on Audible or what have you. It's exclusive to Audible, I believe. And even with that, exclusive to Audible, I got $1,000 for that. For Audible to have exclusive rights to the audiobook, I got $1,000. I don't know how much the publisher got. And that's why I try to tell people, this ain't about money. This ain't about money. You see these two books? You see this book right here? I'm with a top 5 publisher. This Make It Work, and this is A Woman's Influence. My advance was a 6-figure advance. But guess what? For both of these books put together, it equals 6 figures for my advance. But I earn more than my advance every month. So people think that, oh, you're an author, you filthy rich, because you wrote a book and it's published by the same publisher that publishes Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish and Charlemagne, all the celebrities that you see. Yeah, I'm with the same publisher, but publishing don't make you rich unless you if that's what you call rich. If that's what you call rich, you're wealthy, then yeah, okay, it'll do that. But no. I remember when I ain't gonna say a name, but a very big author who had sold like millions of books, I was told that he switched publishers because he said ain't no money in books, and he wanted to try to make more money. So his next book, he switched publishers, but had sold over 1 million copies. And so that's the other thing, is that when you doing this work, when you using your gift, you can't just be about money. Yes, you got to make money, but money cannot be the goal. Chase purpose and the money will chase you. Chase purpose and the money will chase you. So this is what I want you to understand. In 2020, I didn't go anywhere. I didn't do any speaking engagements. I did 0 paid speaking engagements. In 2020, 0 paid speaking engagements. In 2020, I didn't get any royalty checks from either of these books. Any royalty checks from either of these books. But yet I still was able to earn over $1 million. And the reason being is because I'm operating in my gifts and in my purpose, and I have remained consistent. See, 2020 made 13 years that I had been in my gift, operating in my gift. So if you notice, when I come on here, I'm not selling. When you watch my videos, and if you're new to this, if you're new to me, then you go watch my videos. What you're gonna notice is, when I start my video, I don't even, unlike other YouTubers, I don't even say make sure you hit the like and subscribe. I never say that. Because the goal is to serve. And this is a lesson that is not popular. This is not popular. Because people, oh, you got to ask for the sale. You know, tell everybody, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Tell everybody to make sure they go buy your course. I mention my courses, but I don't mention them every video. I don't mention them multiple times a video. I don't try to oversell. See, what I want to do is undersell and over deliver. So I undersell. People have bought some of my courses for $1. They've bought some courses for $5. The very course that they bought for $5 maybe has made me, like my Birth Your Book course, I sold it for $5 at one point. I think right now it might be $97. But yes, from me self-publishing, I have made 6 figures, over $100,000 from my self-published books. It was some months that my royalty check from my self-published books was $10,000 or more, maybe $10,000 to $20,000. I wouldn't even keep up with it because early on I had a shift in my mindset. Because when I first started in 2007, I was thinking about the money. I was thinking about the money, and I was counting money before I even made it. And I told my wife, "Hey, babe, we probably could make off this book I just published. I think we're gonna make $48,000 a year." And when I told my wife, I said, I think I could sell 1,000 books a month. I make $4.20 a book. That's $4,000 a month. 4,000 times 12 is 48. If I'm doing the math wrong, y'all forgive me now. I might have that wrong. And so $48,000. That's what I told my wife. Do you know what my royalty checks were? My first royalty check was $300. The next check that year was less than that. After I got that $300 check, I went back to selling drugs. I went back to the streets. I said, man, it ain't worth changing your life. It ain't worth changing your life. Then I had a shift. It took me about 2 years. In 2009, I went on Oprah to tell my story. Then I went on Tyra Banks to tell my story. Then I went on TBN to tell my story. And I had a shift. And in that shift, and in 2009, you know, that's where I still was trying to learn myself. I was struggling. I was making mistakes, you know, in my life, in my marriage, in my walk, in my business walk. I was still trying to work on, it's 2009 now. Still trying to work on my character, my integrity. And it was then at the end of that, by the end of that year, first thing 2010, I had a shift. And I said, you know what? Instead of trying to focus on $1 billion, I always say I'm gonna be a billionaire. But my focus is not $1 billion. You know why I want to be a billionaire? Because that's the only time people listen to you. We'll listen to Warren Buffett like everything he say is gold. And that man might not have no more common sense than you, your mama, your grandma, anybody. He just played the market. That don't make him a genius, but we'll listen to him. We'll play Steve Jobs, you know, interviews over and over. God rest his soul. I don't even think he believed in God. But we'll play his interviews over and over as if it's just, you know, the wisest stuff you ever gonna hear. Because humans respect money. Humans respect success. That's the only reason why I care about money, is because that's all people respect. And they don't want to hear, as humans, we don't want to hear nothing what a broke person got to say. If somebody broke, what you said? We don't want to process it. And you could meet a homeless person and they'll give you more wisdom than you'll ever get from a billionaire. But we walk right past them, we shun them. And so listen, I gotta get ready to go now. So listen, this is what you got to do. Put your gift in place. Put your gift in place and put one foot in front of the other. Put one foot in front of the other. Do what makes sense to you. My Tony Gaskins Academy, I tried to have it built. It crashed. So I went and got a software, and I put that software. I share the software with those of you who taking the online courses 101. Everything can't be for everybody, because the people who invest in themselves always got to have an advantage, got to have an edge in life. And so in that course, I share my software that I use. And I got this software. That software cost me $99 a month. It cost me $99 a month. And but the return on investment from me organically selling courses. Like when you go to my Instagram, I have over 900,000 people on there on my Instagram. This is a brand new shirt. Y'all gotta forgive me, the tag was kind of itching now. I don't think I can even rip it out of here. I got over 900,000 people on there. And I can't even get the tag out. National champion. This basketball team that I was the team life coach for, Baylor. I didn't even tell y'all that. I'm on here doing talks with Tony. Some of my hotel videos, I was in Waco, Texas, working with Baylor. Didn't even tell y'all that. You see what I'm saying? Because, and that's what I want people to get to understand. Like, everything you do ain't got to be announced. Now that the championship is won, now I share it with you. In the process, I didn't never say who I was working with. And so that's why I'm trying to get people to understand, like, everything ain't got to be shown. You ain't got to brag about everything. Don't get into this here culture. And I'm gonna share stuff with you on this video, because you come in here just so you could help, so I could help. Nah, I still can't even tell you everything, because it just ain't in me to brag about things and all that, and lifestyle and all that. I still can't do it, because some people are still so broke-minded that they'll take offense to it. And they'll use it against me. And he got this, and he got that, and he got that from taking advantage of women. He take advantage of lonely, desperate women. And that's what they'll say. And like, this video ain't for men and women. Like, I don't have a whole series called Man to Man. Like, people will take, and because of their scarcity mindset, because of their broke mindset, because of their bitter mindset, their broken mindset. And I never want to let my good be evil spoken of, like the Bible says. And so that's why I try my best not to give the devil ammo to flip it and manipulate it and use it against you, because I'm just here to serve. And yes, God gonna meet my needs. But listen to me now. Listen to me. When you go into this industry, it tell you need to run Facebook ads. And eventually I'm gonna run Facebook ads. You need to do Instagram ads. You need to do Google AdWords, okay? You need to pay for followers. You need to pay for shout outs. It tell you all these marketing things you need to do. I don't do none of those things. All I did was serve. All I did was serve. And then my audience started to grow. Those who wanted to be served. And so I'm serving. Then in return, I'm on a system that is monetized, YouTube. So YouTube pays you. What I don't do is I don't bite the hand that feed me. So I don't go in and take off ads. If YouTube say, based on our algorithm, based on the length of your video deserves or needs this amount of ads. Whatever they put in there, I leave it there, because they the experts in that. So if I go in there and I'm taking it out, I'm changing it, I may disrupt their algorithm and throw myself out of their algorithm to where I can't reach the people I'm trying to reach, because I'm going in there manipulating stuff, because I'm worrying about the bitter Bettys and the Doubting Dans who arguing and upset about an ad. I leave it how it is. And so guess what? That earns 6 figures. And then the courses, everything, this what my goal was. Everything I learn, I want to teach it. That earns 7 figures. So just natural progression, natural gifts, serving. That's going to be the root of how you're going to change your life. Use your gifts to serve, and then put one foot in front of the other. And whatever you have an idea of, start small and then build big. Start small, then build big. And that's what you're going to understand.
Hey, Tony Gaskins. And I am a husband, a father, an author, a life coach, and a motivational speaker. I know it sounds like a lot, but I've come a long ways, and I've decided to use all of my gifts in every possible way. I don't want to leave anything untapped and leave no stones unturned. I saw these visions early on of having a platform, being significant, but I didn't know how I would get there. I thought it would be sports. Well, along the way, as you know, when you try to do good, you are attacked, what we call the adversary, the enemy, the opponent. I call him Satan, the devil. And I was tempted by all different types of vices. And I made it okay. In the 9th grade was the first time I gave in, and my life began to change. I went to jail for stealing from a store at the mall. I changed my mind after that and decided I would go another route. And when I was graduating from high school, I received a full football scholarship. So I had a scholarship worth $30,000 a year. And it was there where the real tests began to happen. I felt insignificant. I felt unworthy. I felt as if I hadn't been affirmed as a young man, only as an athlete. So to get some attention, I started to do things to stand out. I was selling drugs out of the dorm room. I was into the ladies, really heavy. 3 years into my 5-year scholarship, my coach kicked me off the team and I had to go back home. I had to go back 1,000 miles. And it was there that I would begin my journey to really becoming a man. I was 21 years old. I met my wife shortly after moving back to Florida. She really impacted, began to help change my life by the woman that she was. Even at such a young age, she was only 19 when I met her. I was 23 years old, and that's when I began to really step into purpose. So I changed my life and I started focusing on my gifts, focusing on my passion. And it took about 2 years for me to finally be able to tell my story on national television. Up until that point, I was just feeding my mind with hours and hours and hours of information, podcasts. Reading is fundamental. I wasn't a big reader, so I would listen. I stopped listening to rap music. I stopped listening to music, really. And I just would feed my mind with speakers and teachers like Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, Les Brown, Brian Tracy, Jack Canfield, Tony Robbins. Anybody I could get my hands on YouTube or a podcast, I would listen to him. Zig Ziglar was my favorite. He became like my life coach. He didn't even know it. And I started to learn new things. And I gained new knowledge, and it gave me a new confidence. So then I began to build my brand. I was pitching myself to Oprah, the Tyra Banks, the 700 Club. And then one day, I had what you call a timely pitch. And there was an incident, a domestic violence incident with 2 celebrities. And I had written a chapter on domestic violence in my book. So I pitched to Oprah and said, hey, I know what it's like to be that controlling, toxic lover. And I would like to tell my story. And they called me and they allowed me to come on and tell my story. Right after that, I pitched to Tyra Banks' producer, who I had been in touch with, and he said, come on, bring your book in hand. We'll show you a book. We want to bring you on as a guest expert. So here I was with no formal training, no college degree, just a passion, the hope that I could help people from my story, from my mistakes, and the wisdom that God had given me. So I went on Tyra Banks. They showed my book to the world. Right after that, I pitched myself to the 700 Club. They flew down from Virginia to Florida, and they shot another part of my story of when I was lost and dibbling, dabbling in the streets and how I left that. So now here I was, 25 years old, and I was my own manager, my own agent, my own publicist, my own assistant. And I had gotten myself, with the favor of God, I had gotten myself on 3 globally televised shows back to back. And that's when everything began to change. I really tapped in, I zoned in. I began to learn love in a new way and to exemplify that love with my wife and my son. And I began to wash her with love and help heal her heart, and also began to heal my heart. And I just began to build my brand in a way like I never dreamt of. So what motivates me now, what pushes me now, is that there's always one more person. There's always one more person that I can reach. And not just that, but also I'm pursuing excellence. I'm pursuing perfection. I know perfection isn't attainable, but I believe it was Vince Lombardi that said you'll catch excellence along the way. So I'm trying to be the best absolute husband that I can be, the best father that I can be, the best life coach that I can be, the best speaker that I can be. And that's me. I'm just a servant, as they say, jack of all trades and master of nothing. Well, I like to say I am a jack of all trades and a master of service, because everything I do is to serve. All of my courses, all of my products, all of my seminars, it's only to serve. So that's Tony Gaston in a nutshell. I look forward to meeting you in person.
Well, what an honor and privilege it was to be able to experience this month, to be able to experience this time, to be able to experience all of the learnings that we've been able to learn as a result of taking it through 31 days. 31 days.
The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melone. The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia